Alrighty, welcome back to my channel. This is kind of a unique video, at least for this topic that I've made. I'm going to be going over the creation story presented in the show Hazbin Hotel. I have not watched this show, I can say at least. I've only really seen this clip. I'm not a good person to go to if you want a full review on it or really anything. The only thing I'll be doing in this video is actually watching the clip, the creation story that they present to us, and relating it to the Christian story that we have. So, without further ado, get right into that. Oh yeah, and actually before we get into this, I want to do a little game with you guys. I want you guys to count how many times God is referenced in the creation story they present to us. And finally, when we're done with it, maybe leave in the comments. Just tell me how many times you know they said God, Yahweh, Jehovah, or just any God himself. Alright, now let's get into it.
Once upon a time, there was a glowing city protected by golden gates, known as heaven.
Alright, first part. Yeah, that is true. Heaven is, well, technically a city within the heavenly realms where God and his angels live. Obviously, there are big golden gates you have to get through to actually get in there. We're not told too much entirely about the heavenly realms or heaven itself. But what we do know is that we cannot get there is a different dimension from our own. That's pretty much it.
It was ruled by beings of pure light, angels that worshipped good and shielded all from evil.
Technically, yes, the angels have their own roles and rulings over heaven. Obviously, God is the most important. He is the highest ruler, the highest authority even of heaven. He rules over all the angels, and the angels do have their own hierarchies. As we know from the very low we're given the Bible about angels, there are some that are higher above others. They have different roles, different things to do, like Michael the Archangel, in charge of all the Lord's armies, Gabriel the messenger. It's kind of it given by the Bible. But that's there's a lot more to it than just that. But technically, yes, the angels do have their own rules and ruling over heaven, just below God, clearly.
Lucifer was one of these angels.
Yes, Lucifer, what we know as Satan or the devil, he was known as an angel named Lucifer. He was an angel of God. That is most certainly true.
He was a dreamer with fantastical ideas for all of creation, but he was seen as a troublemaker by the elders of heaven, for they felt his way of thinking was dangerous to the order of their world.
Now this part is very wrong and actually pretty darn it's blasphemous, but just horribly incorrect and unbiblical. The devil, there is the fall of the devil, which we know of. That is when Lucifer believed not only that he can do better than God, but that he will do better than God. He will be ruler over heaven, ruler over everything. And it was because of that pride that he was cast out of heaven. And a third of the angels came with him because they also believed the same thing. They believed his pride and his lies that he could be better than God, which isn't true. This had nothing to do with him having fun or creative ideas that the angels didn't like. No, it was a pride and hate for God. Pride for himself and hatred of God. He wanted to take God's spot. He wanted to be ruler of everything, not just a whimsical little guy.
Watched as the angels began to expand the universe in their ways. From the dust of earth they created
Adam, yes.
And Lilith, equals as the first of man.
Lilith, no. Lilith is, well, for one, Christianity, not even a topic. Genesis tells us very clearly it was Adam and Eve from the start. Adam was the first man, Eve was created from her. Lilith is a figure. It's been brought up in more of the Jewish religion, Judaism. Sorry if I butchered that only. I am not Jewish. I'm not be the best person to look for that. But the research I've done for my own is best I can find. Lilith was added thousands of years after, and there's not any really good, credible evidence for a Lilith being created during or before Eve, or even during the garden at all. It seems a lot more as if it was a story that was kind of attempted to be plugged into the Jewish ideologies and obviously text. That's what it appears most to me. I'll be happy to go over Lilith as a character and idea in another video, but there's just a lot of things I find incredible about her story, and it conflicts with a lot of things that we are taught even in the Bible and even the Torah itself. Or we're just being told, oh, if you screw up with your first wife, why not just get a second one? That doesn't seem too biblical to me. Oh, your first wife doesn't like you? Here, have a different one. Keep trying, Adam. Keep trying, guys. There's a lot to it I just find unreasonable and not at all fitting with it. Again, I believe it to be much more of just something that tried to get snuck in there later on.
Despite this, Adam demanded control, and Lilith refused to submit to his will. She fled the garden. Drawn in by her fierce independence, Lucifer found her, and the two rebellious dreamers fell deeply in love.
This one's kind of a weird conversation. Mostly human and, we'll say, heavenly bodies, relationship-wise. We do have stories about this in the Bible. There's the really early Testament, especially of the people who are holding lands of Canaan and others as well. But basically, like I say, yes, they can fall in love. The heavenly body can get a physical body and can have a relationship with it. But this is horribly condemned in the Bible, by God especially. Human and spirit like that should not be intermingling. And from what came with that is a lot of monsters, which thankfully have been slain.
Together, they wished to share the magic of free will with humanity, offering the fruit of knowledge to Adam's new bride, Eve, who gladly accepted. But this gift came with a curse, for with this single act of disobedience, evil finally found its way into...
Alright, here we come to a whole bunch of wrongs. For one, devil or Lilith or even the fruit did not give us free will. God gave us free will. The way that God gave us free will is when He created us, He limited His power and control over us. God is all-powerful over everything. And in order to actually give us free will, like He did with the angels, He had to limit His power. None of free will was a gift given by anyone but God. The devil certainly did not give us free will. He may have deceived Adam and Eve into eating the fruit, but neither did the fruit or him give us free will. Yes, the fruit represents the ability to make a choice. The fruit represents free will, but it did not give us free will. God gave us free will. It is just part of the way we can actually choose, or more of what our decisions rely on.
Evil finally found its way into Earth. With it, a new realm of darkness and sin.
It wasn't really a gift. I've talked a little bit about the fruit of knowledge of good and evil in I believe my video Morality. But essentially, this is not a gift. They get this kind of correct. Yes, the disobedience is what caused sin to enter the world, but it wasn't because of the knowledge of it. Rather, it was disobeying God's commandment. Adam and Eve both were commanded not to eat from the tree of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. It's a long name. They gotta change that. I'm kidding. They were commanded not to do so. It wasn't the fact that they ate from it that was the problem. It's the fact that they were told not to and they still did it. That was disobedience. That was the act that caused sin to enter the world. Before this, there was no sin. When Adam and Eve ate from it, there was sin.
And the order heaven had worked to maintain was shattered. As punishment for their reckless act, heaven cast Lucifer and his love into the dark pit he had created, never allowing him to see the good that came from humanity. Only the cruel and the wicked.
Okay, for one, again, a lot of wrongs here. It wasn't reckless. This was well plotted and evil by Lucifer. Lucifer knew exactly what God meant, but they will die in this age. And again, I'm actually not too sure if I went over it. I'll be happy to another video. I would be happy to. But essentially, people like to say, well, they didn't actually die when they ate the fruits. It's not what it meant. The devil and God both knew of this, only Adam and Eve did not. If they ate from it, they would no longer be immortal. Sin went into the world, and with sin comes death. One of the fruits of sin. The devil knew of this, and he lied to them. He said, well, you wouldn't die today if you ate it. And while that is true, it's deceitful. Yeah, deceitful. Does not mean that he's telling the full truth. They will die another day. They're still giving up their immortality to disobey God. And again, it's not reckless. The devil knew of this. He lied to them on purpose. He wanted sin to enter the world. He wanted to ruin them. Also, this is not when he was sent out of heaven, cast out of heaven. It is up for a little bit of debate when and mostly, when and where in the Bible we actually hear of him being entirely cast out of heaven. My own personal belief is after he got his pride up and wanted to overthrow God. That is when I believe, and I find it to be most accurate. That is when he was cast out of heaven. Not the fallen man. The fallen man, he was given his own different curse, but does not to be cast out of heaven. When he was cast out of heaven for thinking he'd be better than God, that's when I believe he was completely cast out. Kicked out of the gates and never let back into the city of heaven. Not when him and his phony wife decided to lie to man.
Lucifer lost his will to dream, but Lilith thrived, empowering demonkind with her voice and her songs, and as the numbers of hell grew, so did its power.
This one, kind of weird. Well, for one, actually, knowing when the devil will be sent to hell, it's kind of a complicated subject, and again, I'd be happy to go over this in another video, but essentially, hell is not ready yet. Hell is reserved for after Judgment Day, after everyone will be raptured and judged. The good will be able to join God in heaven, while the rest will be sent to hell. So basically, for right now, nobody is in hell. Hell is empty. Not Lucifer or his fallen angels. For they are actually, right now, what they'd be doing is either strolling around the heavenly realms or on earth, which most likely is it. They will not be in hell yet. They will be in hell when everyone is judged at the end of the days. Also, on the basis of hell, hell is not a kingdom, it's a dungeon. Hell will not be, a lot of people get confused, especially by cartoons and stuff. Hell is not going to be ruled by Lucifer. He's not going to be like the one torturing us. Lucifer is a prisoner of hell, just like what we would be if it weren't for Christ. He is going to be suffering and for eternity, just like anyone else in hell. He's not going to be ruling over it, and neither is his phony wife. They have no control over hell. They have no way of getting out or in. Hell is where they're punished, and hell is where they'll stay. They don't rule over it. They can't have power there. There's no power to it. It's not a city. There's no ruling. There's no king. It's just eternal torment. There's not much else to it. There's no way for them to actually be strong in hell. There's no way for them to rebel. There's no worry about that. For in hell, they'll have nothing. They'll be suffering. That's it. Separating completely from God.
Threatened by this, heaven made a truly heartless decision. That every year they would send down an army, an extermination, to ensure hell and its sinners could never rise against.
Again, like, to be stuck in hell, there's no, for one, heaven wouldn't need to actually go down there and exterminate them. There's no need for that. The people in hell can't get out. And two, they couldn't. We learned that there is a great divide between heaven and hell. A great chasm that no one can go through, not even the heavenly bodies. Only Jesus himself, only God can. Not human or angel can get between heaven and hell. The great chasm. So no, heaven one wouldn't go to hell to eradicate them, and two, they couldn't. The angels couldn't and wouldn't. Also, heaven and hell are both will have different bodies. Will be most of all spirits. You don't have to worry about getting too crammed packed when it's not being full of really bodies. You have to worry about that.
But Lilith's hope remained, and her dream was passed down to their precious daughter, the Princess of Hell.
And just the last giant middle finger in my face of Christian theology. Again, there is no rule in hell. Nobody's king, nobody's queen, nobody's princess. There's no rule in hell. It's not a kingdom. It's a dungeon. We'll all just be suffering, and if we do end up there, there's no success in heaven. There's no lineage in hell. No success in hell. There's no lineage in hell. That's a horrible mistake. I shouldn't have said that. But again, there is no ruling in hell. No, the devil will not be ruling in hell over us. He will not be over us. He'd be suffering for all of eternity. Thankfully, we have a way out, though. To summarize, the creator, I'm not sure, I haven't really looked up too much about it, seems to have a very big lacking of an understanding of how heaven and hell works and of the creation story. A lot of it seems a lot more blasphemous and glorifying to Satan. It does not even mention God at all. It depicts Satan as a dreamer, a good guy, even though he's caused a lot of horrible things. He's cause of sin entering. While it is on our own choice, he's still not a blameless figure. I think a lot of this is just really horrible. It's a lot of lies and just horribly deceitful. I hope the creator would come to Christ and hopefully would actually talk to people and learn more about it. And to all those who somehow stick to the end but don't question why I'm doing this, asking, it's a kid's show, who cares? It's a cartoon, it's not real. They're depicting this as a real Bible story, who cares? For one, it is still their depiction. It doesn't matter that they say this isn't real or not, it's still a depiction of it. A very inaccurate and deceitful depiction of it. And two, I don't want people getting the wrong idea. If lies are being represented about anything, even if it's known as lies, we should still bring it up and show the truth. That's what I'm hoping to do here. So, all that's done and said, thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something through this, and God bless.